Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a creator request, which is where a smaller band gets in contact with me and asks me to check out their work. I got an email that said, "Hey Bryan, how you doing? 8 months ago you reacted to our 10-minute collab. Your analysis was so on point and insightful. We got a new one and I was wondering, could you please react to one particular song from it? I'm really curious what you think of this one. Thank you very much and keep up the good work." So this is off of their 2022 album Mass Recall. We're looking at track number 2 from it called Hostile Contact. It features tulpas. This one, a bit of a difference from their 10-minute collab, is only 2 minutes long, so I think we're going to get a highly condensed sound. Looking forward to it because I appreciated a lot of the diversity and interesting combinations of ideas that we heard last time. So let's dive into Hostile Contact by And All I Can Say Is. There's a lot going on already, and we're only like 20 seconds in. I love the juxtaposition between the gnarly metal and the really beautiful string duet we have. Some really interesting effects on that guitar there. Oh man, that was so good. Not only was there a fake out ending where it felt like you were on your final note and just gonna fade out from there, but then you brought it back with an incomplete idea that stops abruptly. The double fake out was man, that just tickled my funny bone. Um Dang, this is a lot. A lot of stuff crammed packed into just, 130 minutes, seconds. God, 130 minutes, 130 seconds. Um, is this linear-ish? What do we follow? Like A, B, C, and then a reprise of A, a very short reprise of A. Um, yeah, it's quite condensed. You move through ideas rapidly. It feels interestingly as long as it should be. Usually, I think I would find a 2 minute song to be a bit on the short side, but none of the sections feel like they were over too quickly, and I don't know what that says about them, or maybe what it says about my current listening mood. But I found everything to be a fine length, even though each section was on average less than a minute long. I do appreciate the variety through most of this, though. Even in the micro level, I mean, if we look at just our A section, what we kicked off the song with, and not that 2 bar fake out intro. Oh man, you had a fake out intro and a fake out outro, a double fake out outro. Talk about hostile contact. This song feels hostile to listen to. In fact, that even kind of bleeds through into a lot of the sounds that I'm about to talk about. Nice accidental segue there. Uh, there is the djent chugging on the bottom of the track. There's the drums trying to find a, well, not trying to find, succeeding in finding a groove against the syncopated, disjointed rhythmic aspects of the track. The vocals are just this gnarly sound sitting here. And there's another guitar sitting on top, just making noises. I say that in a positive way. It is all of these really harsh harmonics, I think, being played that really pierce through the entire mix. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason as to what fret is getting the harmonic sound on. There are sometimes rising ideas and falling ideas as far as pitches go. Um, it doesn't seem to be related to what the rest of the band is doing, neither rhythmically nor pitch wise, if we can call it a harmony. It's more of a ornamental idea, though. We get these pockets of 1 to 3 notes. But what it does create is hostility. And that's not probably the word I would have used originally, but now that I've been reminded of the title, it is. It's providing a friction to the listening experience, or at least I should say the foundational listening experience. There's a lot of just straightforward djent stuff going on underneath it, and it is the one aspect that says, hey, look at me. Check me out. Listen to me, I'm doing screechy stuff over here. And it's this constant reminder off to the side that there's this djent band playing, and then this person on a guitar just kind of squealing over there, and it feels hostile. I don't know if that's exactly what you're going for with it, but that's exactly what I feel. It was so difficult not to pay attention to that when it was the one aspect that honestly I don't think added much to what was going on, or what I should say is that it worked in contrast to what was going on. It certainly adds a lot to our A section because it is such a subversion of everything else going on around it. And yet, despite all of that, it works together well. It's still in a type of rhythmic phase with everything else, and it's not like it's a sound that isn't associated with djent anyways. It's just done in a way that, at least to me, feels attention grabbing. But it does provide something that I think djent typically lacks, especially pure djent bands, which is a melodic aspect. I mentioned that we have a chugging rhythm in the lower guitars, we have a groove in the drum and bass, we have texture based percussive stuff basically coming out of our vocals. There's no melody, and that's pretty typical. And while I'm not going to say it was a super melodic idea, it was contrast in pitch that none of the rest of the band was really bringing to the table. And through that, I think it fills a void, even as antagonistically as it does, that aids that portion of the song. We shift gears to our B section, introducing a violin and upright bass or a cello. Yeah, definitely a cello. And I love this. There is something about the ultra gnarly vocals here. Specifically, I mean, we also just have, the guitar work and the drumming and all the filthiness coming from all that too. But the vocals, I think, in particular, being one of the most aggressive aspects of this section, being paired with such a soothing duet, mostly working with these lengthy dyads between the two string instruments there. And there's something about it that is borderline comedic to me. I don't know if it's what and all I can say is necessarily intended for it. it's not like it works in contrast to each other. I think it's actually a fantastic section. It's basically symphonic djent, bringing in strings to do chordal stuff around the metal band. This is something that bands have been doing for decades. Um, but there's something specific about the timbres, the sounds of the instruments that they have in their band that I think it's not necessarily that I find jarring against it, but it's just unexpected in a way that I think maybe 20 to 30 years from now, as we continue to smash together the traditionally beautiful sounds of classical music and the modern landscape of gnarly sounds that we hear in metal and even electronica these days, that I think will be a bit less jarring as time goes on and it becomes more of a normal sound. Um, but I find it really interesting that amidst all that noise, the band was like, string duet. That's what we need. And I thought it was the perfect volume too. At first, I thought it was a bit quiet. I wanted it bumped up. But once all the instrumentation was there, the drums, the guitars came back, the vocals came back, I think it worked well. It was sort of this exterior sound that sort of enveloped everything else and made a nice, uh, I don't know, metal sandwich out of string bread. That sounds weird. Anyways, it all comes together, and I like the reprise of the gnarlier stuff being the focus in our C section. That brings us back to a reprise of our A towards the end of the track. As far as composition, I think the song works well. There's a bunch of aspects that I probably missed. If anybody else heard something that I didn't talk about, please let me know. If the band pops up in the comments, I'm all ears. If you put something in there and you're a bit disappointed I didn't pick it up, let me know. Because the thing is, this is a big song. There's a lot of layers. There was a lute in there. I almost forgot about the lute. There's a lot going on at any one time, and I honestly, that might be why the 2 minute time works so well for me, because it is very much auditory overload, especially for someone like me who even does have a lot of experience with these more extreme metal types. It's still something I find myself getting fatigued by. And so I think the low runtime works for me and maybe other people who aren't, say, metalheads, and find all of this sound being crammed into our ears at the same time and in such a ferocity. It could be overwhelming, and it was nice for the song to end. I'm like, oh man, that was a good amount of time to be in that 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 sonic assault, I guess we can call it. Um, but it's all very well done. And I'd almost say that if I was more inclined to this style of music, I might wish that some of these sections were a bit longer and further explored. But honestly, I think, as it stands right now, everything just kind of works together well in a way that there's nice flow between the ideas. Nothing stays around too long. If anything, you leave your audience wanting more, which is definitely a good thing. If you're going to lean towards one thing being too long or being too short is usually the way to go. Um, I think that's about it, unless I can think of something else while I'm reading lyrics, but that's what I'm going to do right now. I'll be right back. One thing I totally forgot was the variety of the vocal inflections, I guess we can call them styles. There's like 3 or 4 different harsh styles in here, between higher pitched ones, lower pitched fries. I think there was a growl at one point. And then we found ways to layer up all these different styles too, which, that's my other usual complaint with harsh vocals. And of course, this is not something to take as an objective read on anything. But I find harsh vocals to be a bit monotonous usually, and finding ways to create variety with harsh vocals is a high point for me in a lot of more extreme styles of music. And I found the vocals here to be refreshing, easy to listen to, despite the overall gnarly filthiness of them. Just, oh man, I kind of want to learn how to do all that one day. There's something appealing about harsh vocals. I don't know what it is. I don't necessarily like listening to them, but I think to be able to do them would be cool. Anyways, lyrics. What do we got here with the lyrics? So we have somebody who was trapped, confined to be someone that they weren't. Um, and there's a couple of readings of this. It says at one point, I've discovered who I could be when released from perdition, which is a loss of the soul or eternal damnation. It's possible that this is a way of saying that I realized who I could become when I stopped caring about a religious afterlife, possibly. A lot of the song is about saying that there's no turning back now. This is who I am. Nothing's going to change that. And I'm happy with this new direction I'm taking things. At the end of the track, we have a repetition of lines. Something about free from you, a sick, sadistic, perpetual victim. Now I'm no longer. No, now you're no longer making my insides numb, and I'm no longer under your thumb. So somebody who had control of them and seemingly through possible indoctrination or just forcing them to accept a religious mindset that they are now removed from. Both removed from this person's control and the mindset that this person was putting on them. And they have found a new way of being outside of that, and they seem to be pretty happy about it. And that's pretty much the whole track. It's, I don't know, 12, 15 lines long, which, I mean, makes perfect sense given the 2 minute runtime here. Um, yeah, I mean, the song lyrically is about transformation. It's about seeing who you were and who you are now and the growth and difference between those. And the song is about growth as well. The song constantly evolves from section to section. Although I do think it's interesting, we return back to our A. I am curious if the allusion to the classical bits here with the violin and cello are supposed to be a nod back to archaic ways, possibly not necessarily saying that classical music is archaic, but introducing an underlying element of the music that is divorced from the core identity of the metal here, in a way that's sort of creating an oil and water situation, which is reflected in the lyrics of this person moving away from something that they don't necessarily believe in. Um, I don't know if that's necessarily the direction they went in with that. Like I said, I remember them using a lot of interesting instruments. Last time we checked them out too, and I don't remember there being a thematic purpose for them. But I don't know, it kind of fits in there. I can see a read on that. As usual, though, I'm just, again, just kind of blown away by some of the ingenuity here and the mixing together of sounds. And I don't know how I missed this. I'm pretty sure I listened to their 2021 album. Cold is the Cold is the Void sounds familiar to me. But I'm gonna have to check this one out. Released November of 2022. Early November, late November, mid November. Ooh, is that an honorary 2023 release? Maybe not, but you know what? I might put it in my 2023 listening list anyways. I'll check that out soon because I enjoyed what they did last time. As usual, those are just my thoughts, though, on, and all I can say is, hostile contact. Let me know your thoughts, opinions, perspectives, and comments down in the comment section. Above that, in the description box, usually I have my links. Instead, I will have their links, social media platforms, merch, ways to buy their music, streaming platforms, all that stuff will be there. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. If you head over to any of their places, please like, subscribe, heart, thumbs up, whatever on theirs as well. Show them some love from the community. Alright, that wraps it up for today. Tomorrow we have an album review. Till next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, with the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.